want to turn the light down. Okay. Om Ajnana-timirandasya Jnananjana Salakaya Chakshurunmilitamyena Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhistam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Dadati Svapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Uthapadakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Harijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Pada Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishaka Anvitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dina Bandhu Jagatpate Gopesa Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Brinda Vanishwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasadi Gaura Bhaktarunda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. So today is a little longer verse, longer purport, and Parshit Maharaj is also like going unendingly with his questions. So you're going to read from Canto 2, chapter 8, verse number 21, questions by King Parikshit. So the text goes like this. Samplava sarva bhutanam vikrama pratisankramaha Ishta putyasya kamyanam trivargasya chayo vidhi. So the Bhagavad-Gita also mentions there's a theme to these questions. That's the same theme Krishna also addresses in Bhagavad-Gita. Prabhupada says in the Bhagavad-Gita, that in the introduction of the Bhagavad-Gita, that Bhagavad-Gita talks about 5 subject matters. And the 5 subject matters are Ishvara, who is the Lord, and characteristics and so on. And then Jiva, the people, we all, and trees and animals and everything living entities, Jiva. And then they do something. That's a karma. The karma can be done in different ways: good way, bad way, neutral way, or elevating way. There are 4 different ways. And finally, the 4th and 5th are, 4th one is for the living entities to do all this, they need a place, that's Prakriti. And finally, the ultimate controller, the time, who is the boss of everything. It's the energy of Krishna. Time is not the boss of Krishna. It's a boss, a representative of Krishna, but boss for all of us in this material world. It's like we are given time to play. That's it, time to play. And if the boss gives more time, then it expands. If boss also can cut it down, you're not utilizing the resources properly, it has to be cut down. So here in this verse, he is asking about the deliverance of the people. Samplavaha sarva bhutanam, all the living entities, how they can be ultimately delivered. And then Vikramaha Pratisankramaha, which is like what's the favorable, what gives us strength, and what doesn't give us strength, Pratisankramaha. And also, people also do different things, Easter, they by following the Vedic regulations they do, by as a duty minded they do, or if they're wanting something they do Easter Putasya Kamyana, and they do it by Trivargasya Dharmata Kama Moksha principles. So Parshit Maharaj is asking, please tell all about the what is the ultimate deliverance of the all living entities, and then what does it give that gives the strength, what are the things that doesn't give that takes away the strength and makes the people weak. And then furthermore, but they also do other things, Ista Putyasya Kamyana, and then dharma, what is the right way of doing the Dharmanta Kama Moksha. So it's a package of questions. Okay, so I will recite one more, and maybe one or two devotees can recite this, then we'll get into the purport. Samplavaha sarva bhutanam vikramaha pratisankramaha Ishta Putasya Kamyanam Trivargasya Chayo Vidihi. Anyone want to say the verse? Yeah.
Samplava sarva bhutanam vikrama pratishankramaha ishtapurtasya kamyaman kamyanam trivargasya chayo vidhi.
Yeah, thank you, Prabhu. Anyone also want to do? Otherwise, we'll continue. Okay. So, translation. Please explain unto me how the living beings are generated, maintained, and annihilated. So, before that, going to the synonym, Samplavaha, perfect means or complete devastation. Sarva Bhutanam, of all living entities. Vikramaha, specific power or situation. Pratisankramaha, ultimate destruction. Ishta, performance of Vedic rituals. Purtasya, pious acts in terms of religion. Kamyanam, rituals for economic development. Trivargasya, three means of religion, economic development, and sense gratification. Cha, also, whatsoever with the procedures. Translation. Please explain unto me how the living beings are generated, and how they're maintained, and how they're annihilated. Tell me all of the advantages and disadvantages of discharging devotional service unto the Lord. What are the Vedic rituals, injunctions of the supplementary Vedic rites, and what are the procedures of religion, economic development, and sense gratification? Samplava Sarva Bhutanam. So, Prabhupada, the first paragraph focuses on this, not just the deliverance, but because Parshit Maharaj was also asking the daily activities, like, fulfilling one's own desires, or occupational duties or obliged duties, following the Vedic rituals. Because he was asking all of that. Prabhupada focuses on how to do it perfectly, both current daily affairs and also ultimate liberation purpose, ultimately devastation or perfection, we can say. Purport. Samplavaha, in the sense of perfect means, is employed to denote the discharge of devotional service. And Pratisamplavaha means just the opposite, or that which destroys the progress of devotional service. One who is firmly situated in the devotional service of the Lord can very easily execute the function of conditional life. One who is firmly situated in the devotional service of the Lord can very easily execute the function of conditional life. Let me also share my screen. Living the conditional life is just like flying a boat in the middle of ocean, one is completely at the mercy of the ocean. At every moment, there is every chance of being drowned in the ocean by slight agitation. If the atmosphere is all right, the boat can fly very easily. Undoubtedly, if there is some storm, fog, wind, or cloud, there is every possibility of being drowned in the ocean. No one can control the whims of the ocean. However, one may be materially well equipped. One who has crossed the ocean by ship may have sufficient experience of such dependence upon the mercy of the ocean. But one can fly over the ocean of material existence by the grace of the Lord very easily, without any fear of storm or fog. It all depends on the will of the Lord. No one can help if there is some unfortunate danger in the state of conditional life. The devotees of the Lord, however, cross the ocean of material existence without anxiety, because a pure devotee is always protected by the Lord. Bhagavad-Gita 9:13. So this verse says, Mahatmanastu mam partha, daivim prakriti mashrita. Krishna is telling, my devotees, they're under my shelter of the divine energy. Daivim prakritim ashrita. And the Lord gives special attention to his devotees in their activities within material conditional life. Bhagavad Gita 9:29. This one is, Krishna says, I don't have any partiality for anyone, but for one who is a devotee, they have my special favor. Or Prabhupada is telling here, special attention. Therefore, everyone should take shelter of the lotus feet of the Lord and be a pure devotee of the Lord by all means. So this really sets the mood for the whole text, this paragraph. What Prabhupada is telling here is the life in this world is not easy. And Krishna knew it, and sages confirming it. But still, they ask us to read Srimad Bhagavatam, chant Mahamantra, and practice devotion service, despite we are like filled up to the neck up to our neck, or more than that, within the anxieties of the conditional life. Prabhupada is giving a nice analogy. So you are sailing on the ocean in a boat. Imagine the extent of water it is, and then slight agitation only takes, maybe fog or storm or snow. That's it. It's very chaotic, very scary situation. And it only takes a moment, and the effect of it is pretty daunting. And the boat can collapse, and we can lose the full opportunity. So therefore, Prabhupada is bringing the point that devotion service is very, very important. It's very, very needed, because devotion service is the only solace that can help in this, our ocean of material existence. We are not feeling it, basically we are distracted either by problems of life or movies or some videos or technical advancement and so on. But this is really, journey is really like on an ocean in a small boat. Anything can happen. Last time when I went to Bulgaria, the place was very next to the Black Sea. And one day I went to see the sea, and the quantity of water is humongous. It just takes a slight moment for the water to spill out and can drown all the high-storied buildings in a less than a moment. So I was appreciating the water. Like I was thinking, you have a water in a jar, and it moves. When there is air or some kind of small movement, it moves. So I was understanding the waves of the sea is just a movement, regular movement. And imagine if someone throws a big stone or big bowl into it, it splashes, it can flood the um, whole earth actually, because so much water we have. So, so that's our situation. And Prabhupada personally had the experience of flying over the ocean, and also seeing the effects of storm and all those things. He tells, one day it may be fun, but you have to do it every day for 15 days, 20 days, even got heart attack. And what to speak if any storm comes or anything, it's pretty scary. So we have to leave everything, whatever we have collected with all our energy, and get drawn. So their Prabhupada is telling, devotion service is not only for the ultimate benefit, but the benefit for today, for this moment. When we have the mercy of the Lord, one can fly over the ocean of material existence by the grace of the Lord very easily. So this is the added advantage and the free favor we are getting. So, and the technology was explaining, Prabhupada was telling, Krishna telling, because the reason is the pure devotees are under my shelter, my divine energy shelter. They're not left out. The second 929 Prabhupada is quoting is that that Krishna gives, not only they're under my shelter, but I also give a special attention to them. So it's also nice. One thing is problems, but other thing is, imagine trying to get attention of Krishna. It is so sweet. So after this, the rest of the 3 paragraphs, Prabhupada goes on to the different questions of Maharaj Parishit. That is, what are the things that is favorable, what are the things that's not favorable, and what's the, here very slightly covers the dharma, the karma, vidhis, and so on. Okay. One should know, therefore, from the expert spiritual master, the advantages and disadvantages of devotional service. Just as Maharaj Parishit asked his spiritual master, Srila Sukadeva Goswami, according to Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, the science of devotional service, one should not eat more than what he requires to maintain his body and soul together. Vegetable diets and milk are sufficient for maintenance of the human body, and therefore one has no need to eat anything more to satisfy the palate. One should also not accumulate money to become puffed up in the material world. One should earn his livelihood easily and honestly, for it is better to become a coolie for an honest livelihood than to become a great man in society by hook or crook. There is no harm if one becomes the richest man in the world by honest dealings, but one should not sacrifice the honest means of livelihood simply to accumulate wealth. Such an endeavor is harmful to devotional service. Then one should not talk nonsense. A devotee's business is to earn the favor of the Lord. Therefore, a devotee should always glorify the Lord in his wonderful creations. A devotee should not decry the creation of the Lord, defy him by saying that he has created a false world. The world is not false. Factually, we have to take so many things from the world for our maintenance. So how can we say that the world is false? Similarly, how can one think of the Lord as being without form? How can one become formless at the same time have all intelligence and consciousness, direct and indirect? So there are many things for a pure devotee to learn, and he should learn them perfectly from a bona fide personality like Sukadeva Goswami. So nowadays it has become trend. The Kali Yuga effect also there. Many people are creating their own formulas and propagating, the moralities. They come to realize something. That's it. We have this YouTube or Facebook platform, blow it up on the universe. So Prabhupada is suggesting one should learn these things from bona fide personality like Sukadeva Goswami or Srimad Bhagavatam. Next paragraph. The favorable conditions for devotional service are that one should be very enthusiastic in serving the Lord. The Lord, in his form of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, wanted the cult of devotional service to the Lord to be preached all over the world, every nook and corner. Therefore, a pure devotee's duty is to discharge this order as far as possible. Every devotee should be very enthusiastic, not only in performing his daily rituals of devotional service, but in trying to preach the cult peacefully by following in the footsteps of Lord Chaitanya. If he is not superficially successful in such an attempt, he should not be deterred from the discharge of his duty. Success or failure has no meaning for a pure devotee because he is a soldier in the field. So, preaching the cult of devotion service is something like declaring war against materialistic life. There are different kinds of materialists, such as fruit workers, mental speculators, mystic jugglers, and so many others. All of them are against the existence of Godhead. They would decry that they are themselves God, although in every step, in every action, they are dependent on the mercy of the Lord. Therefore, a pure devotee may not associate with such gangs of atheists. A strong devotee of the Lord will not be misled by such atheistic propaganda of the non-devotees, but a neophyte devotee should be very cautious about them. A devotee should see to the right discharge of devotion service under the guidance of the bona fide spiritual master and should not stick only to the formalities. So under the direction of the bona fide spiritual master, one should see how much service is being executed, not simply in the matter of rituals. A devotee should not hanker after anything, but he should be satisfied with things that may automatically come to him by the will of the Lord. That should be the principle of a devotional life. All these principles are very easily learned under the guidance of a spiritual master like Sukadeva Goswami. Maharaj Parshit inquired from Sukadeva correctly, and one should follow his examples. Ready for the one more paragraph, Prabhuji? So we are getting the best association. Maharaj Parshit is not only a common man, not only an accomplished person, not only a king, but he is an emperor, very successful emperor. He was able to check even the Kali Purusha, that is his power. And he is showing us by his example where to ask questions and how to ask questions, what are the things to ask. So Maharaj Parishit, next paragraph, inquired about the process of creation, maintenance, and destruction of the material world, the process of Vedic rituals, and the method of executing activities in terms of the supplementary Vedas like the Puranas and Mahabharata. As explained before, Mahabharata is a history of ancient India. So also are the Puranas. Pious acts are prescribed in the supplementary Vedas, Smritis, which specifically mention digging tanks and wells for the water supply of the people in general, to plant trees on the public roads, to construct public public temples and places of worship of God, to establish places of charity with the poor, destitutes can be provided with foodstuff, and similar activities are called Purta. So we covered Easter, Purta, and the last one left is Kamyanam. Similarly, the process of fulfilling the natural desires for sense gratification was also inquired about by the king for the benefit of all concerned. So, one thing that stuck out as a take home for me is for sure it is clear how the Lord's mercy will make things easy, even our daily activities, which we are, thinking by secondary brain or subconsciousness mind. We drive on the road, just doing multitasking, or we do the work multitasking, and then the day finishes, and then weekend comes, weekend finishes, and so on. But Prabhupada is telling by do it, taking shelter of Krishna, practicing devotion service. So by doing so, and things will be easy in this world, but also after the future also we'll get the better. We're just we'll just clear up. We are doing many things we're not willing to or wanting to do, but by taking shelter of Krishna, taking shelter of the process of devotion service, not only we can make it easy, but we will be saved and also get elevated, right? So that part is clear, but how to do it is a question. And Krishna also tells in the Bhagavad-Gita, in the last chapter, who is his best servant. He doesn't say one who is doing so many austerities, so many chanting, so many reading, or someone so on like that. He says, whoever is sharing this devotion service with others is the best. And furthermore, he also tells there's no one more best than him also. So Prabhupada also bringing that point here. The Lord, in his form of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, wanted the cult of devotion service to the Lord to be preached all over the world, every nook and corner. So therefore, a pure devotee is to discharge his order as far as possible. So if we can take this to our heart, Prabhupada took it to his heart when his guru has said, you English people should go and preach. Of course, he said, first let us get the independence to the country, then only people can hear. But his guru refuted, no, devotion service is not limited by anything material. And Prabhupada accepted to his heart fully. He didn't do right away, but that direction carried him, and we are all reaping the glorious benefit of his, Prabhupada's the small acceptance. So that is what's sticking to me. We should also accept it. There is nothing special we need to do. We just continue whatever we are doing. We are working, cooking, sweeping the floor, or taking care of the children, taking care of the family. In between, we're adding little chanting, little Bhagavad-Gita, little Krishna we are doing. So let us all do that with the focus of, becoming the instruments and sharing the glory of devotional service to others. The sharing need not be a big project. The sharing, the minimum or the first sharing is we need to feel help. We need to find relief. As Krishna was telling, we need to, Prabhupada was, wait a second, I'm losing my thought. The sharing is, we need to find the easiness of doing the things in this world. As Krishna, Prabhupada is quoting Krishna, that they stay under the shelter, there's some sweetness, feel it. Or when we are taking shelter, Krishna also giving attention, pay attention to those things. Those are the things, 2 things we can do. And then that gives a boost of momentum in our own devotional service. We can really tangibly see, as Krishna says in Bhagavad-Gita, pratyaksha avagamam dharma. We can experience it. So Prabhupada is also telling, you may not be successful right away. Prabhupada is telling here, if he is not superficially successful, such an attempt, one should not be deterred. Actually, we should be happy also. Good thing, I'm not qualified, and so this is not happening. Whatever, I'm sharing with someone, they're not finding it, they're feeling it. That's a good thing, because that means we don't have enough to share. So we can go on receiving the mercy of Prabhupada and Krishna, the easiness, the relief from distress, and furthermore the happiness and nectarian bliss and so on. And tell me if others don't get influenced when we have enough wealth to share. So Prabhupada is telling, success or failure, there's nothing. And this also we see in Prabhupada's example, when he came all the way to the West, suffering the heart attack and taking the 1 month ship journey, and then solo, no money, nothing. And then he was trying to figure out everything, trying to rent a room and this cold weather, bitter, snow, cold weather and so on. And when he invited for Bhagavad-Gita classes, lo and behold, no one showed up. No one showed up. And he spoke to the 4 walls. Fortunately, we have that recording. And that recording is the introduction to the Bhagavad-Gita. It's a mind-boggling introduction to the Bhagavad-Gita. So that's about it, dear devotees. Harshit Maharaj is asking, how can we make a complete perfection for the soul's stay in this world? And of course, meanwhile, there are many duties people are doing, Ishta, Kamya, or following the Vedic rituals. So how to do it properly, and also, how to do it properly. Those are the questions, and Prabhupada was very nicely bringing the bomb, or that kind of a weapon, devotion service. You bring devotion service, it is a solution for this moment and for the next moment, for the next day, next year, and even next birth, and for eternity. That's the power. Devotion service is not compromising in the local affairs. Of course, I was hearing a lecture, there was explanation for Bhakti Thakur. He was a wonderful magistrate judge under the leadership of British, yet he was very successful. The reason is, he was focused on, again, sharing, writing books, this way, that way, preaching. He did a lot of preaching. So similarly, Prabhupada was also, yes, there are rules. You should not eat more, you should not accumulate more, or we should not entangle ourselves in this world. There are rules. But this principle of the Lord has said, experience it and share it with others. So if we take up that mission, then we can do much best to ourselves and to others. And also, it's a much best service to Krishna. So at a crux, The idea is this is also Damodar month. Let's be alive. And it's also has been, I am also have been trying to share with others. This month is very powerful. Please do some devotion service, a mala of charm, Hare Krishna mantra, a page of Shrimad Bhagavatam, and so on. Especially so many people have received Bhagavatam, really really want to share it, but somehow getting limited with bandwidth. But we can all share that with others, whatever we are doing, or at least relish and celebrate this month. So that happiness is going to spill over for sure. We don't even need to say about it. So let's fill it ourselves more and more and more, and then the problems will come. The problems are just the mercy, actually. I'm coming to acceptance of that. It's been a long research. Maybe I'll take this time. It's only short number of devotees. I'll take this time. So Bhagavatam, in the second verse, it's Septapatrayon Mulinam. It has always been a question on me, like how Bhagavatam removes the miseries, and we are going through a lot of miseries. And Gaurav Darshan Prabhu kept telling that Bhagavatam removes the miseries, and then he was explaining that the way Bhagavatam removes the miseries as that devotees feel the miseries as mercy of Krishna. Then the formula is clear. Then where is the misery? So that was good. That gave a little clarity, but it gave a very long clarity attending last week's Bhakti Vaibhava class, where Arida Mataji was giving 3 examples. One is Chitraketu. He was in the body of demon. He was not at all feeling the misery. And Brajavasis, they were running to Krishna when this pralaya was happening. The thunderstorm was happening. But they are also focused on Krishna. They were also not feeling misery. And Pandavas, which has been like the puzzle question. Devotees means it's so much pain you have to go through. But Arida Mataji was explaining that Pandavas didn't have time to think about it as a misery. They didn't have time to think about it. So that's all, dear Prabhujis and Matajis. So let's equip ourselves with the message of Srila Prabhupada and Bhagavatam and the devotees and Krishna, and let's carry it. Let's have the purpose. Let's share it, whatever little they can receive, and then for sure we'll be successful. Our daily affairs will become a piece of cake, and also our spiritual affairs or our journey or endeavor to go back to finish up all the karma in this world and go back to spiritual world also becomes much easier. Thank you so much. Hare Krishna. It is already 8:50. It's a long purport, so maybe one of you can share a small glorification for Srimad Bhagavatam, Srila Prabhupada, and then we will end the call.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. Please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Guru Maharaj and Srila Prabhupada. Thank you so much for the wonderful, reading and explaining of the verse. It was very nice, Prabhuji. I wish there was more time, but I will just end my comments there. Thank you so much, Prabhuji.
Thank you for encouraging, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, Danvat Pranam, Jai Srila Prabhupada. Please
accept my humble obeisances, Prabhu.
Thank you for the really nice nectarian class. So many things that you said were very, very hard-hitting and very meaningful. One thing that you said about Bhaktivinoda Thakur was really nice. How he was preaching and therefore he was such a successful magistrate. I really appreciate that point. And that's, I think, very true in our lives also when we preach. then everything else in our life goes on nicely. And Krishna is really happy. And that was really nice. And the example that you gave of the sea was also very nice. So,
So, small glorification.
yes.
That's it, devotees. Thank you. Hare Krishna. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Granthra Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. Hare Bol.